Okay, welcome. Today I wanted to offer some reflections just about 4 months on since the death of my wife, and just some more of the learnings, the teachings, and some of the experiences that I've had in the last 4 months. So, as many of you know who've been following this channel for a while, that in February 2025, so 9th of February, my wife, Michelle Dawn Silcox, died suddenly. And it's now been just over 4 months since she died. And I've done a few videos over the last few months just updating you how it's been. And so I just wanted to share some insights. To say that the last 4 months have been uneasy, have been difficult, would be an understatement. It's been really challenging. And not only, had my wife died in February, but we also had the launch of our documentary, Boarding on Insanity. We did a sold-out premiere 1st of March. And then we did an online launch as well, which included 3 webinars and then a launch. Obviously, I was organizing my wife's funeral, and then I got sick as well. So I had a skin condition, which meant that I had to isolate for a number of months. And it was tough. It really was. And yet there were so many teachings and learnings through that period. And, one of the things I wanted to talk about today is, I'm doing a lot of work with leadership at the moment, and I'm just putting together a new course called the Compassionate Leaders. And in it, it's like reading the leadership challenge. It's like, they talk about the reason it's called the challenge, the leadership challenge, is because that's where our greatest opportunities to grow come from. That's where we really learn. And what I want to do today is just draw upon a few of those teachings to see. So what are some of the things? I mean, now 4 months in, I feel I'm moving back into joy and back into gratitude. And I think this is one thing people don't necessarily understand about death and dying, is that I love the work of Stephen Joseph, and his book, What Doesn't Kill Us, has been so supportive for me. It's about post-traumatic stress to post-traumatic growth. And one of the things, the key teachings, is about approaching the challenges rather than avoiding. In the past, when I was younger, boarding school, I avoided the challenges. And now what I'm doing is approaching them, moving towards these challenges. And I see that this is really key, is when there was the grief there, it was like, this is really painful. And just crying over and over and over again. The first week, I cried most of the time. First month, every day for an hour or two. I'd wake in the night. I didn't sleep much. But I kept approaching. Rather than what I would have done in the past was I would have gone into drugs. I would have just, not dealt with it. I would have got very depressed. Whereas what I've done this time is really approaching, taking care of myself, spending a lot of time with friends, and that's been an important learning for me, the importance of friendships. So many of my friends have stepped up, and I've needed to reach out. Some people have thought he just wants to spend time on his own, and actually I didn't want to spend time on my own. And I think that's been a big learning the last week or so, is about loneliness, feeling lonely. Obviously, you've spent nearly 20 years with Michelle, more or less every day together, and suddenly her not being there, and I started to feel lonely. And actually, what's happened this last week is realizing, coming to the garden, spending time in nature, realizing, I've got this community of animals and birds around me. I've got a community of friends around me. And that's felt really lovely to know that I've always got someone there, and on a spiritual level, understanding that Michelle, she's still around. She's can still feel her, and yeah, just really connecting to that. So that's been an interesting thing to learn, is about kind of loneliness. Another thing which has come up is a bit about guilt. I think they talk about that in the 5 levels of grieving, and one of them is guilt. And I certainly felt that sense that I could have done more. I could have, forced Michelle to do this. I could have done that, and it's like the could have done. And so that's been an interesting thing to come up, and just to be with the guilt and watch it, grieve, and just coming back to my heart, knowing that I've done everything I could do, and our relationship was a really beautiful one, and keep coming back to that, and really feeling her presence, and presence there. So yeah, that's been something which I've been moving through. And then some of the practices I found really useful. I mentioned there was 9 practices which were helping me with grief. They've continued, and one in particular has really been this idea of the daily practice. That's what on this compassionate leaders pathway, there's 12 modules, 12 steps, and the second one is the daily practice, and that's the one I really have drawn upon so much. When it's got really tough, it's felt, I can't do this. I've come back to my meditation, I've come back to my running, making sure I do my 6,000, 10,000 steps, making sure I connect with friends or family. It's like just the tick box. Atul Ganawande, who wrote the book The Checklist Manifesto, Surgeon General, about the importance of the simple things. Have you done them? Have you done them? And often when we get lost in the trauma, we get lost in that grieving, we forget the simple things. Self-love. Am I going to bed early? Am I eating well? Am I sleeping well? In that first month, I didn't sleep very much, probably 3-4 hours a night. I'd wake up 3-4 o'clock, and I'd just start crying, just missing her, and I found it really difficult to get back to sleep. And then just drawing upon Kouzes and Posner's book here, what they say is, when people talked about making extraordinary things happen, they spoke about encountering obstacles, resistance, naysayers, hardened attitudes, seemingly impossible odds, uncertainty, hardship, setbacks, or other adversities. In other words, challenge was the common denominator. It was the context in which people said they did their best. So that's been really useful for me over the last 4 months, is just realizing that what I was going through, this was really going to help me to grow, to develop. It wasn't always when I was in that space, but just going, the challenges helped me grow. I wrote a poem about that 6 months ago. When I'm sad, I sometimes forget to breathe. And it's like, remembering that. The challenge here is helping me to grow. So, yeah. Just some reflections. And yeah, it's not been easy, but I think that's one of the things I shared in that first video, and I'll link it at the end, is this common humanity. Is that this is what we all go through. We all grieve, we lose things, whether it's a relationship, we lose a loved one, we lose our health. This is the common denominator. In Buddhism, we call it anicca, impermanence. This thing that, it changes. It changes. Change is the only constant. And so that's been helpful, that common humanity that we all go through this. So bless you, thank you, and updates. We've still got the premiere in the screening in West Yorkshire. I'll put link to get tickets below. I think we're almost sold out for that, but we've had to cancel the Edinburgh screening just due to we only sold 30 tickets for a 240 place cinema, and yeah, we were surprised. We thought there would be a lot of interest up there, and there hasn't been. So we're going to try and find another date and do another screening, because yeah, we really want to get this message out there. So yeah, thank you so much for your support, and yeah, any questions, any reflections, please do comment below.